Hey people, it's all my fault. So I got this saying at work, if you never made a mistake, you ain't never accomplished nothing. You didn't do anything. And when you make a mistake, you have to fess up, it's my fault. And that's where you learn. And that's what this word is, the teacher. In that last movie, I pronounced this felt, Q-E-L-T or F-E-L-T. But it's more like F-H-L-T or F-A-U-L-T, fault. And I caught it when I got down here and felt just wasn't finished, was in a fault. And as soon as I seen it, I thought, and I went back up. And it's a fault, the very fault. And that's the best teacher is when you mess up. If you don't make mistakes, you don't learn from them. And so it comes up twice here, the very fault, and then the evil, the vellum of the skin to see in fault, and vanity, the skin to see in fault. Fault is a big crack. You're getting old and you're seeing fault, a fault line is a big crack across the earth. And I clicked on it, and it only comes up in this Ecclesiastes. And that's what that means is fault. It's the only time, 6 times here, the very fault. And here they say it's the preacher every time. And I looked at how it was used, in a fault. The mix attire from a fault. Oh, when somebody doesn't dress right. The M-X-A-T-I and then backwards E-R-M-A. Mix attire from a fault. And who tears I fault. And it helped me when I got over here to this Q, because I've been working on this Q. I figured out that without the dot in it, it's pronounced as an F. And I wasn't too sure if it was double letter, as in it had a different sound as the ka, like they say. It's Bakesh. Or if it was a double F. And this really helped me here. It's because, in cause, fault. Because fault limits the very speech puts to cut a visor. To cut a visor. A visor is the one who's in the cut a visor is one who's in charge of trimming down, Joe's speeches so he doesn't say the wrong thing. The very speech puts to cut a visor the very time. And so, this helped me figure out that this Q pronounces the ka, and it's because, in cause, in come after, consume, and because I run the white truck through the mud, it is now black. And come after to consume, and after I consumed is black. Because. And like I said, this Ecclesiastes is a real good chapter. It's really helping me figure a lot of these dots out. So when you see your preacher, you tell him it's his fault. And when he says, what's my fault? It's because he has no idea how to read this. So if you haven't watched that last movie, I'm putting all these in Ecclesiastes in one folder. And it looks like this right now. The very, very felt, a.k.a. Ecclesiastes. And I'll put a wiser name on there when I come up with one. But I'm definitely going to change this to fault right now. So that's what this means, the very fault, a.k.a. Ecclesiastes. So in that last movie, I got a comment from Doc Did It. He says, I need to visit you and just soak up all this knowledge. It's helped me so much in dissecting of the words. So thanks, D. Hooty Hoo. And, I'm all for it, And I was thinking maybe we could put together a conference in Florida in the off season where the surf's better. And that's one of my favorite places in the world is down around the Florida-Alabama line. They've got the best surf, right in Alabama on the border. And in the off season when it's cool, that's when all the condos are really cheap. So we're going to put together a conference in Florida if anybody's interested. Sometimes the water's cool and I have to put a wetsuit on, but it don't last but 30 minutes. By the time you row out there, you're sweating. You got to take the wetsuit off. You really don't need a wetsuit to surf out there in Florida, even in the coldest of the winter. It stays pretty warm. Sometimes the surf is great, and sometimes it's small enough to learn on, and sometimes it's just glass, and that's really my favorite time because the water's really clear and I can swim and I can see 20 foot deep. I can see what's on the bottom. So I'm going to finish reading these last 6 lines in this Ecclesiastes 1. And I believe this reads, to make no, N-A, instead of inna. I believe it's the make no fault they itty, they small, from like all larses roll, larses of thieves in a role, you play your role, the role of a thief, by rustles from, by takes from. This is that one I read a couple of movies ago. The unity, to eyeball, by literus, a letter become all, the colors ashore, knows that the same is who, and then backwards, of the mimes that the sun rays, local see, the make brutal, us word, liable to, continue on in, row not in, myel, the myel is your backbone, the marrow in your backbone, row not in myel, living heads, lone what, boo, what you're into is your boo, your girl, you into her, she's your boo, into. So this is the word Moses here. This is the closest thing you're going to find in the Bible to Moses. I think you might find it without the E somewhere, just M-O-S-I-S. I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and indeed all vanity and grasping for the wind. But it's the rate it all, claimism, mimosas, shine nose too. The rated all claims isms, mimosas, shine nose too. The dot in the M means it's 2 M's, so it's the rate it, A-L-K-L-M, claim, ism. And so they claim, or an ism is a belief. And then M-E-M-M-O-S-I-S, mimosas, shine those two. And so I know what the mimosas shine is, like moonshine. Mimosa shine is a purple dye. That's where you get DMT from. And it is poetry, and the rue is rhyming with the shine those two. That this smashes when nickel the valor out rue. And so when, and then the dot and the N, same thing, 2 N's, when, N-E-E-K-L, when nickel, the valor out rue. So this, the velour out rue, velour, a woven fabric resembling velvet. And if you look at the colors that they're showing here, this is the colors that you'll get out of mimosa dye. Of velvet. This is the colors that come out of a mimosa dye. The smashes when nickel, nickel, the old word for the devil 5,000 years ago, nickel was the devil. The velour out rue, to rue is when you start in a pot of gumbo, you start with a roux to bring out the flavors, you roux it, wear out roux. From out low, look who to call it of in. To cull of it in. You out looking low. Comes from the roots. From out low, look who to cull it of in. Witches run low, look who to call the men what. So this is probably where your word outlaw come from, from outlaw. It was outlawed to go looking to call the let of in. Witches run low, there's not much of it left. They outlawed it because everybody was getting it. Wasn't enough for the kings. Witches run low, look who to call of them men what. The Britty. And this word probably went at the end of here because that's just not rhyming. And it most likely that was on the end of that one, and this is the next line. And so it could rhyme down here. The Britty of the men what. The Britty. In Noah's able, the ability by command, by Lamar. In know then, the Gothly, the Gothel they, we to sip they, check 'em all, colors assure I, lapping all, from leisurely rustles, will by rest here be, check 'em would at, to attain of build at, check 'em, would at the will what, to skillet hand they. They out there in the forest with the skillet in hand. Sieges, with the dot in the G, it's a ga, and with a dot in it, it's a ja. The sieges. And the skillet would at they sieges, these who roy when rue. The roy is the king when awaken, the king in you, to these who roy when rue. Give bear and check 'em, revs a cause. Why us if thought, the dot in the D gives the THOT, knowledge, thought. Why us if thought, just if make of. Give bearing, bearings is your direction. Give bearing, check 'em. A rev, is like to rev up your motor. Much, the revolution, many times. Give bearing, check 'em, rev. So cause, who us if thought, just if make of. So these are all short chapters in here. And when I get on to 3, it has that song where it gives a bunch of words and helps explain the words that are only used in Ecclesiastes. This was called With Wisdom Comes the Sorrow. But it began with, preceding generations forgotten and what had been forgotten. And then when he knew it, with wisdom, when he knew it, come the sorrow. And you find out, oh, that's outlawed.
Don't forget, hooty hoot, I won't forget.
All right, I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.